Here, you can be your best. The best train here. Learn here. Succeed here. Perform here. Win here. Thrive here. Itawamba Community College. The best start here.
Why settle for a checking account that just holds your money? Renaissance Rewards Extra gives you so much more. Like savings at more than 400,000 retailers, 24/7 roadside assistance, a cell phone protection plan worth up to $400, $25 in ATM fee refunds per monthly cycle, and a great interest rate when you meet 3 easy qualifications. Get extra today at rewardsextra.com. Renaissance Bank, understanding you. Member FDIC.
Everyone has a unique story to tell. Maybe your story has you performing your new song in front of a crowd, getting to play your favorite sport, or enjoying a horseback ride in the country. At Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi, our group of skilled surgeons understand your need to continue your story. That is why we are the preferred choice for orthopedic care. Thank you for choosing us. Our story is you. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi.
If this just cost a little bit less.
Let's take a look at that with the Renaissance replay. Make the right call with over 400,000 shopping discounts right from the Renaissance Rewards Extra checking app.
Might be a little while before I get to the bank.
That's an incomplete pass. Let's give it a Renaissance replay. Renaissance Mobile Check Deposit. Make the right call and open an account with Renaissance today.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the ICC Hour, being presented by our friends at Renaissance Bank, the bank that understands you. Visit renaissancebank.com to learn more about their rewards extra checking accounts and all the outstanding benefits that go along with joining the Renaissance Bank team. It's Tuesday, November the 17th, and I'm Adam Gore, the Director of Sports Information and Media Relations here at Itawamba Community College. I hope you guys are coming off a great weekend and having an equally great start to your week this week. Thanksgiving, it'll be here before we know it, so hope you're getting geared up for that as well. Now, we've got a fun show lined up for you today. We're going to sit down and talk with ICC Athletic Hall of Fame inductee Tyson Lee. Tyson was a former quarterback at ICC and went on to play at Mississippi State. He just has a great story, or I should say call it a testimony, really, of just where hard work and dedication can take you in life. He went from not having very many offers at all to playing in the grandest stage of them all in the SEC, starting as quarterback for Mississippi State. So, it was a great conversation with Tyson, and it had actually been a few years since he and I got a chance to sit down and talk. So you'll want to be sure and stick around for today's show. Now, before we get to that interview with Tyson, I do want to remind you that new students can now register for classes this spring at ICC. And you could do that right now. ICC will offer 5 different class options this spring, those being traditional face-to-face classes. This will be a face-to-face online hybrid, a face-to-face Zoom hybrid, Zoom only, and of course the traditional online classes will be available as well. To find out more or to sign up for classes, call 662-862-8251. That's 662-862-8251. Also, a reminder for new students, orientation is required, and those dates orientation will be available on November the 18th, December the 10th, January the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you can register for orientation at iccms.edu/orientation. That's iccms.edu/orientation. I will say this, now tomorrow's orientation dates might be full, but you still have December the 10th, January the 6th, 7th, and 8th to sign up for that. Now, that's enough of me talking. We're going to take a quick break and hear a few words from our sponsors, and we're going to come back with our conversation with Tyson Lee right here on the ICC Hour, being presented by Renaissance Bank.
$5 for my own money?
That's a bad call. Let's give him a Renaissance replay. Sign up for Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking with ATM refunds today.
I use ice cream as kind of for medicinal purposes, you know. It just puts me in a good mood.
This would be so good for dinner.
Very crispy, spicy.
A little tang.
A crunch.
El crunch.
There's a lot of bacon on this thing. It's just oozing.
Delicious.
I just want dessert.
Give me some.
Very indulgent.
This is delicious.
Shaky goodness.
And the nice crunch.
Oh, that's dangerous.
What about the tots? Tots are everything.
Today tastes like game day at home, like assigned couch seating. Tastes like coffee table dining and an ice-cold Coke to cool down the heat. It tastes like the game you've waited for all week with friends you've known your whole life. Today tastes like watching football is supposed to, and it never tasted this good. Coca-Cola, together tastes better.
That's home. That's just like the Ravens. That's just like Pahokee, Florida. That's my second home. I got my degree from there, my first degree, college degree. It's part of my heart, it's part of my soul, it's part of my spirit. And, you know, it's everything. Itawamba Community College, baby, it's everything. It shaped me up to being a great man because it was part of the journey of me becoming the young man I am today. And it's home, man. That's it. Like, I could go there and lay my head down without no problems. Itawamba Community College, the best start here.
Ooh, fumble. Let's give her a Renaissance replay. Make the right call with Renaissance and get cell phone protection with Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking. Sign up today.
Man, it's an honor. You know, for one, ICC really was the beginning point for me in a lot of ways. You play high school ball, you go to class, you have friendships, but once you close one chapter and open another, ICC was the first part of that story for me. And when I think about where I am now, when I think about all the things that I've gone through, accomplished, the highs, the lows, ICC was the beginning, and a lot of the stuff that I learned there, I still use today. And so I saw that McPhee was inducted last year, McPhee, a dear friend. And so, one, when you realize that you're in the same category, or at least inducted into a Hall of Fame with somebody like Purnell, man, you can't help but be just humbled, seriously.
All right, so let's talk about your time. So Columbus
Yep.
to ICC took a chance on you out of Columbus, and man, did it ever pay off.
Oh.
So talk about those coaches.
Jeff Carter, Jeff Terrell, and Kenny Jackson, man. So the running joke, and I don't know how true it is, Coach Terrell didn't want me.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Carter did want me, and Coach Carter fought for me. Kenny Jackson, who coached D-line at the time, I never will forget, Coach Jackson came and watched one of my soccer games in high school, and it was like 30 degrees because in Mississippi you play soccer in the winter. And, you know, I wasn't recruited, so I didn't really have, I guess, high expectations. But I remember when he came to the soccer game, I was like, yep, I think I'll go to ICC. But, man, in all honesty, Coach Carter, Coach Terrell, Coach Jackson, they took a chance on me. And I cannot tell you how often I think about them taking a chance. Because when I say it began or continued my story, it's so true, you know. Wasn't recruited. But always felt as though I would give 100% effort, would outwork the opponent, and ICC developed that in me more than anything else. And so as I look back on my days at ICC, they were hard, man. Oh gosh, being in Fulton and not much to do in the summers, just all of that. Coach Carter, Coach Jackson, and Coach Terrell giving somebody like me a chance. I feel like I am where I am today, and that's not an exaggeration because of him.
Well, that hardworking attitude really paid off. You became the first ever football player to earn All-American status, both as a football player but in the classroom as well.
Yeah.
Talk about that mindset and how it paid off for you to succeed in both realms.
I'll tell you, man. Is Miss Tubbs still there? She was a computer concepts teacher. I'll tell you a story. A lot of people don't know it. I was a procrastinator in high school. I was a good student. I would work hard, but typically it would be the night before. my freshman year, I had Miss Tubb, I can't remember, computer concepts, and it was on the second floor. And I remember it was a Tuesday, Thursday class, 8 to 9:15, and it was my only class. So typically, when you get done with your class, you go back to sleep. Well, I told myself I wanted to kind of start a new story, a new journey, do things a little bit different. So we finished Miss Tubbs' class upstairs, and every day, every class period, before you came back the next class period, you would have an assignment due. When you walked downstairs, there was a computer lab downstairs. And so the very first day, we had an assignment, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm doing it right now before I get out of the building. And Adam, you may think I'm crazy, but it changed my life. That sounds so cliched. For the next 4 years, I would tell you that I was in some ways a maniac when it came to school and sports. I very seldom up at 4 in the morning, and Coach Terrell, they did dorm checks every night, and if you were to call him today, he would tell you every time he came to my room in Lee Hall, I was studying. But I think that class taught me the importance of, one, not wasting time, and as a student athlete, you don't have much time. But then two, just get it done as soon as you can without waiting. And for the next literally 4 years, you talk about being an All-American, I think it was a product of that commitment and that hard work.
Now, you kind of already named some names, and I always like to ask, both in football, outside of football, who were some of those positive influences on you?
Oh, man. Mr. Lay, I had Mr. Lay for biology. Miss McCormick, I had her for math. A&P teacher, her husband, I think, worked on campus. They both worked on campus.
Cooper, maybe?
Miss Cooper, blonde hair. Mm-hmm. Yes, Miss Cooper was my anatomy teacher. Dr. Ross, Mr. Ross, chemistry teacher. Man, it's bringing back floods of memories. But as I reflect, because often I don't reflect on college in this season of life, don't reflect enough. But it was just transformative. I remember we were playing, I think it was an away game, maybe at Holmes, and I had thrown 3, 4, 5 touchdowns and had come home, and I had Mr. Franklin, Benjamin Franklin was his name, seriously. He was an English teacher. I had a Friday English test. And just to show you, I think, how committed I was, but it was a product of other things. I came back home, and you know what most college kids do is say, hey, let's go hang out and have fun. Yeah. Like, nope, I got a test tomorrow. So I get back, I go straight to my room, and I start studying for an English test the next day. And I say all that because it's the opposite of how I was in high school, right. You know. And now as I look at being a husband, being a dad, being a principal, and you'll hear me say it, I guess, in this interview over and over again, but it all started at ICC.
Well, let's talk about some of your favorite memories from football, either in a game, outside of games, some stuff you can tell. I know there's some stuff that goes on you you don't want to tell.
Few, yeah.
But just talk about that, maybe some guys that you remember from that team that you have that special connection with.
Oh, so Jeffrey Cameron. I remember my very first, Cam was from Tupelo. Cam played receiver, and one of our first workouts was me throwing the ball to Cam. Coach Carter put us on the field, and we just threw. Some stories. I will tell you, JUCO had some good dudes, man. Not correct grammar.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I had some solid teammates, but wide receivers, running backs, you know, as I've even thinking about this Hall of Fame lately, I couldn't have done it without those guys. I mean, Chris Wilson. I could go through Sergio and Mario Crump and Bubba and Benoit. I mean, just so many guys that, one, they caught the ball, they ran the ball, but then my offensive line, just Cody Stubblefield. I'm just thinking of the guys, Matt Connor and Gabe Holloway and Big Baby. We had obviously nicknames for all these guys, but I would tell you, I remember the worst part of junior college football, I'll tell you this, was the Sunday drive back. So you'd play on a Thursday. Normally Coach Carter, Coach Terrell, those guys on Friday after class, you would have your workout, and you're kind of usually we just run and stretch out. And you would get home late Friday night, and Sundays you had to be back at 2 o'clock, and nobody's on campus. And you're coming back, you had to work out, you had to watch film, then you would go and eat in the cafeteria. This time nobody's in there except just the football team only, and then you would practice on Sunday nights. And but I also remember the best feeling of the week was Sunday night after practice, because you had gotten the hardest day done before the week started. I remember McPhee and I used to take him to McDonald's in my 95 Honda Civic. Gabe Holloway and I used to go and get a Whopper from Burger King. Trying to think out of some fun. Coach Collins, I don't know if Coach Collins is still there, but Buddy Collins was my offensive line coach my freshman year. And I remember Coach Collins used to be so energetic, and we would be so annoyed because it would be 5:30 in the morning and it's dark and cold, and old Coach Collins would just be in a good mood, and we all just wanted to be in a bad mood because we were in a bad mood, you know. Let me just think. These are great questions.
Just follow that. But he is retired.
Is he retired now?
He is still that same energy, though.
Same.
My office was next to his for about 3 years. And, of course, I'm not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, don't get by Coach Collins.
Oh, no, because he would always, and he knew that, too. So he would always come in and make sure that he would try to make me a morning person. I'm like, this ain't going to work.
I'm trying to think of some games. You know, I remember we never could beat Jones. I think we were 0-3 against Jones. We had some playmakers. D.A. Griffin.
I forgot about Mario Crump being on that team.
Crump, I think from Aberdeen. You know, Amory, Aberdeen, sweet potato capital of the world, Vardaman. We had some Vardaman guys.
Yep.
I remember playing in the Delta, and I tell people mosquitoes in the Delta look like birds.
Yes.
They're huge.
Why settle for a checking account that just holds your money? Renaissance Rewards Extra gives you so much more. Like savings at more than 400,000 retailers, 24/7 roadside assistance, a cell phone protection plan worth up to $400, $25 in ATM fee refunds per monthly cycle, and a great interest rate when you meet 3 easy qualifications. Get extra today at rewardsextra.com. Renaissance Bank, understanding you. Member FDIC.
Davis Ford in Fulton is your Ford dealer for new cars, trucks, and SUVs, and has a wide inventory of certified pre-owned vehicles. Find your next dream car or truck from our Ford showroom, or go online to davisfordsales.com and search our new and used inventory to see what is on our lot. So stop by and test drive the all-new fuel-efficient Ford Focus or Ford Fusion, or the new Ford Explorer or F-150. Go further with Davis Ford, 904 West Main Street in Fulton, or online davisfordsales.com.
Everyone has a unique story to tell. Maybe your story has you performing your new song in front of a crowd, getting to play your favorite sport, or enjoying a horseback ride in the country. At Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi, our group of skilled surgeons understand your need to continue your story. That is why we are the preferred choice for orthopedic care. Thank you for choosing us. Our story is you. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi.
Today tastes like game day at home, like assigned couch seating. Tastes like coffee table dining and an ice-cold Coke to cool down the heat. It tastes like the game you've waited for all week with friends you've known your whole life. Today tastes like watching football is supposed to, and it never tasted this good. Coca-Cola. Together tastes better.
Hey Indian fans, I'm Ricky Murphy, real estate agent, Tommy Morgan Realtors, and I'm also a proud alumni of the All-American Marching Band. Itawamba Community College was my home for 2 years, and where you decide to make your home will be one of the most important decisions of your life. Whether you're looking to create a plan to buy your first home, or if you're ready today to make a move into your forever home, give me a call or send me a message so we can discuss your next move. And for my family,
Roll Tide! I use ice cream as kind of for medicinal purposes, you know. It just puts me in a good mood.
This would be so good for dinner.
Very crispy, spicy.
A little tang.
A crunch.
El crunch.
There's a lot of bacon on this thing. It's just oozing.
Delicious.
I just want dessert.
Give me some.
Very indulgent.
Now, this is delicious.
Shaky goodness.
And the nice crunch.
Oh, that's dangerous.
What about the tots?
Tots are everything.
And welcome back to the ICC Hour, as always being presented by our friends at Renaissance Bank. Renaissance Bank, the bank that understands you, RenaissanceBank.com. Now, before we jump back in our conversation with Tyson Lee, I do want to remind you once again that registration is open right now for the spring semester at Itawamba Community College. You can give us a call at 862-8251. That's 862-8251 to find out more or to register for classes. And I also do want to remind you, if you're a new student, orientation is required and will be available on November the 18th, December the 10th, January the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you can sign up for orientation by visiting iccms.edu/orientation. That's iccms.edu/orientation, but you've got to be registered before you can do that. So once again, that number, 862-8251. Now back to our conversation with ICC Athletic Hall of Fame inductee Tyson Lee. We're just talking about any favorite memories.
Any favorite memories?
Anything funny that, could be on field, off field. If you want to take a shot at P.
Man, Fee, I love that guy. He came in from Pahokee weighing 208. So a lot of people don't realize he came in from Pahokee, Florida. There's another guy named Ronald. Ronald ended up not coming. But you can research Pahokee, and it's a unique place in and of itself. Fee came in weighing 208 pounds, and now he'd probably get mad at me. He's probably 300 plus. But when he left, I think he was 260, 270. And part of that was he was a highly recruited basketball player. He didn't play football till his senior year. He ended up being small 3A player of the year in Florida his senior year. And he came and was just so underdeveloped because nobody had spent time with him. And his ceiling was so high. And I just remember, when you play with guys like that, you just like, man, these are some good dudes, man. They can ball.
Yep.
And for me, God had always gifted me to throw the football. I could outthink you. I wasn't outrunning you. I wasn't going to run you over, but I knew I could throw a football. And so finding guys that could catch the ball and get open. And Coach Carter, one of the things that he kind of let me have free reign out there. After freshman year, and he saw that I knew what I was doing, towards the end of the year and even in my sophomore year, he gave me a whole lot of freedom. And I think that freedom made it fun for me. I think it made it fun for the guys because we would go into games with a playbook, but had developed that trust with Coach. And if I saw something at the line that I wanted to do, he'd say, go with it.
Nice. And it showed because you guys were successful.
Yeah.
We were talking on the way up, and I hate to say this, we've had successful teams, but not to the same level you guys have been until we got another Tyson Lee in Ellington.
2 years recently, right?
3 years.
Okay, I remember the name because you get busy and you, but he could sling it too.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about your transition. So you go basically unnoticed from high school to ICC.
Yeah.
Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So talk about that transition.
Man, so I went to ICC. I would tell you low expectations. My mom was always one who was just a grinder, and so I'd seen what hard work was, and I think intuitively or maybe subconsciously I knew hard work was expected, inevitable, just part of the process. And so I went into ICC, and when I would say really with no expectations. The goal was to go in and work hard and see how things would go, and man, the hard work that was put in just paid off. So I finished my freshman year, and I think that's maybe when I got All-American. And for me, it was like, oh, wow, cool. That wasn't the goal, It was just, hey, man, grind it out in the classroom, on the field. It came, and what's really funny, at that time, social media wasn't big, so I really couldn't be arrogant. 1 year at a junior college, and you've always been short, so you couldn't really think too highly of yourself. Right. So going into the second year, people have asked, were you nervous? Let's just get to work again. I will say midway through the second year, when I'm putting up great numbers, there were, I think, maybe once or twice Player of the Week, National Junior College Player of the Week. And so the assumption is, well, that will produce opportunities after junior college. One, I had the grades. Right. Character was what I think coaches wanted, but no scholarships were coming in. And I had a few small schools that came in towards the end of the year and never really felt like they wanted me per se. It was more, hey, let's talk. And I remember sitting in Coach Carter's office, and it was maybe November, Adam, and didn't really have many offers. And somehow or another, I was like, well, I'm just going to walk on at Mississippi State. And I remember sitting, Coach Carter's a rebel. And but the same guy who took a chance on me, I was sitting in his office, and I was like, hey, Coach, I really don't remember a lot of it, but I think I'm going to try to walk on at Mississippi State. And in some way, Coach Carter was like, is that what you want to do? I was like, yes, sir. He said, I believe in you. And left, moved into a room with a high school friend of mine. He had a room probably the size of this, and I had a little twin-size bed in the corner, and he just let me share his room with him. And so my goal at that point, being a walk-on, the whole goal is just give me a chance. And so I moved a twin-size bed into his room, and at the end of the bed, I had a almost like a Tupperware bin, and it was the winter, so I had my sweatshirts and my hoodie, sweatshirts, and my sweatpants there, and I just grinded it out and lived there, went through spring ball. I'll tell you, one of the things that a lot of people, they think walking on or just playing college ball is, it's like, man, I wish I could do what you did. I was like, man, if you knew all the things that I had to do, I don't know.
Yes.
So, for example, my junior year, because I was walking on, I wasn't privy to the playbook. So Coach Woody McCorvey, who I have great respect for, Coach McCorvey's at Clemson now, Monday morning we would have, early in the morning before classes, we would come in, we would watch film, and they would have installs. And so you would have an install every day. Well, I had never seen the playbook, and they wouldn't give me access to the playbook because I was not a scholarship and I was just a walk-on. For 4 weeks, so Coach Kroon would have 2 weeks of spring ball, then spring break, and then 2 weeks after spring ball. Well, for I'd say 4 to 6 weeks, I spent minimum, no exaggeration, 2 to 3 hours a day on the playbook. Because I knew that as a walk-on, they're always trying to find a way to just put you at the back and say, oh, there they go. Yeah. I never wanted to get an opportunity and not be ready for it. And I will tell you, from day one until I got my first start against LSU, and day one was, I guess, February or March, there was never a time I didn't know what to do. And part of it was I always knew there will come a time when if I don't know it, I won't get another chance. If I do know it, people are going to be surprised that I know it. And so I would go into film sessions, I would go out to practice, and as the walk-on, typically I would just be quiet. But as coach is asking guys, I'm thinking it through. And go through spring ball. There were 5 quarterbacks, 1 left. I was 4th string. Then 3rd. By the end of spring, I was 2nd string, and Coach Kroon offered me a scholarship. And didn't have a great career there. We weren't, as a team, super successful. And then Coach Mullen comes in my senior year, and a lot of guys I think that I played with really helped lay the foundation for what they've been able to do. Just played with some really good athletes, some who are still playing in the league now. So yeah, that was the transition, and it was a pretty difficult one.
That was your first start at LSU?
At LSU, on the road.
So talk about that. I mean, that's kind of a little intimidating.
Death Valley, baby. Here's what's crazy. Maybe it was just so surreal. It's the most calm I've ever been in a game. I don't know what to attribute it to, honestly. I was always one who was prepared mentally. And I think I just January, February, March, April, May, June, 6, 7, 8 months that you just committed so much time. And in some ways you had felt like, oh, here we are. And I'll never will forget Death Valley at night, still one of the coolest things in the world. And just walking out, you imagine walking out in normal conditions, but then you're Death Valley where it goes kind of straight up. And you're just kind of looking around like, whoa. And we got beat, but I still remember it.
Still pretty cool, though, to think about it. Go from Columbus, Mississippi, no offers to starting at one of the biggest venues in the premier football league in the country. All because it's an underdog story, man.
Yeah, and I think that's still root for the underdog. And I guess even now in my career, have always, or at least as I got older and more mature, I realized that, man, there are things that you will be great at or good at, and you can develop those, and there will be things that you're just not so good. So you're not fast, you're not tall, you're not as strong as others. And I think rather than trying to be those, I just knew that I could throw a football. And I would throw a football better than anybody else. And I think that mentality of, man, focusing on your strengths, not that your weaknesses were eliminated, but I knew the gift that I had been given, and I think the guy just gave me the ability to throw a football. There was a lot of time, even when I was walking on at Mississippi State, what a lot of people don't know is on weekends, I would put out one of those nets that you throw into. I'd go to my high school field, just me, and I would put it on the right side. I'd roll out, I'd throw it in the net, go get it, do it again. I would do drop backs on the street at night, And so I think that's the side when people, a lot of times guys would come up and say, hey, man, I want to try to do what you did. And it sounds glorious. I mean, I was super grateful for it, but I paid the price in a lot of ways.
And I think that's the thing people forget. They forget. They see everything that's in the spotlight. But you're proof that if there's a will, there's a way, but you've got to have that will to find the way.
Because the will, it'll...
Yeah.
You better have a will. Yeah. And I think that's where, when I look back, what I'm most proud of really is the process, honestly. I mean, getting a scholarship was great. Playing was great. I mean, the relationships to this day are still, hands down, the best part of all of it. But, man, just the process, the grind. As a dad now, as a principal, I often try to encourage. It's not so much the end result that I'm concerned about. Because if it was just getting a scholarship, well, what happens when I get the scholarship? Or if it was, and some of these weren't even goals, but if it was just about becoming All-American, then what? And I think it was very much, hey, this is the phrase that I use. I know that when I left ICC, I remember Coach Carter getting mad at me for crying. We lost to Jones. He's like, stop that crying, boy. That's what he would tell me. But I know when I was done, I gave everything I had. And I think that was what I was most proud of, is every workout, every game. We may come up short, we may lose, I may not play well, but I knew that I gave everything that I had. And I think that, as you say, man, where there's a will, there's a way. Because there were many times at Mississippi State I wanted to just quit. You're third, fourth string, you're not getting a chance, it's cold out, you just want to sleep. I mean, you name the scenario, and I kind of walk through it. But it's life now. 4 kids. One gets up at 2, one gets up at 3, and you're like, just go to sleep. But I think just the, in some ways, cultivation or acclimation of skills along the way, and I still use them now.
So when are you going to give me back for the pizza?
Oh, personal foul. Let's give him a Renaissance replay. Make a successful handoff when you transfer funds to friends and family with Zelle and the Renaissance mobile app.
Hey, Pam, what's that?
New slices and sticks. Half pizza, half Italian cheese sticks. What's that?
I spent a butter hump.
An unexpected combination, just $6.
Acres away!
Pizza. Introducing Slices and Sticks. 4 slices of pepperoni pizza together with 8 Italian cheese sticks. A combination as unexpected as the Saxa telephone.
Hey, Mom.
New Slices and Sticks, just $6. Pizza.
Everyone has a unique story to tell. Maybe your story has you performing your new song in front of a crowd, getting to play your favorite sport, or enjoying a horseback ride in the country. At Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi, our group of skilled surgeons understand your need to continue your story. That is why we are the preferred choice for orthopedic care. Thank you for choosing us. Our story is you. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi.
Let's give him a Renaissance replay. Make the right call for 24/7 roadside assistance and sign up for Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking today.
That's home. That's just like the Ravens. That's just like Pahokee, Florida. That's my second home. I got my degree from there, my first degree, college degree. It's part of my heart, it's part of my soul, it's part of my spirit. And, you know, it's everything. Itawamba Community College, baby, it's everything. It shaped me up to being a great man because it was part of the journey of me becoming the young man I am today. And it's home, man. That's it. Like, I could go there and lay my head down without no problems. Itawamba Community College, the best start here.
Today tastes like game day at home, like assigned couch seating. Tastes like coffee table dining and an ice-cold Coke to cool down the heat. It tastes like the game you've waited for all week with friends you've known your whole life. Today tastes like watching football is supposed to, and it never tasted this good. Coca-Cola, together tastes better.
What piece of advice would you give to any students that are watching right now to kind of build on to go forward in their future?
Oh, man. There's a few. I think one, delayed gratification. You know, one of the things I learned at ICC was embrace the hard. I mean, life will always be hard. I think delay the gratification. And for me, what that meant was there were many times I wanted to quit. I just wanted to be a normal guy. I had friends who were sleeping in. I had guys who on the weekends would go and visit friends at universities. And those things were super tempting. One, you're at a junior college and you're like, man, do I really? Because I never thought that I was good enough to make it to the NFL. Now, what I did know is you couldn't outwork me. Like, those were just things that I knew. I knew that I could throw a football. But for me, I wasn't a Pernell McPhee in terms of, or a Darius Slay, who, man, they're just extremely, they worked hard. But they were very good athletes, and it was clear, oh, they're better than your average guy. So I think for me, I knew that there would come a time when I would have to put football down. And so a lot of it, I would say, is begin with the end in mind. You know, where is it that you want to go? And I never really knew career-wise what I wanted to do. But I knew that every decision kind of had an effect, or every one thing that you did had these ripple effects. And I think I was conscious of that. And so because I was conscientious of this one thing could lead to another thing, I think it helped me embrace the hard. It helped me think long term. It helped me to make decisions that were not just in the moment, but considering what the future would look like. So yeah, maybe embrace the hard, delay gratification. You know, take a chance. That's, I mean, Coach Carter, I guess I have to attribute my whole life to him and Coach Terrell and Coach Jackson. But I mean, I think where I am now is a testament to one who just had courage. Willing to be the underdog, but hey, I'm walking in, I'll give it my all, and I'll see how things go. So maybe those things.
Okay. And then
you'll probably leave, and I'll be like, "Oh no, that's not." I wanted to tell them something else.
That's the way it always goes. Like it's after the thought.
You should have sent me the questions before. That way, it could sound a whole lot better.
Yes, and I guess what I'll wrap up with myself, and you guys feel free to ask something as well. But somebody's thinking about coming to ICC.
Yeah.
What would you tell them in your experience, both at ICC and where you're at now in life? What would you tell them about that decision of how ICC built Tyson?
Oh man, this is going to seem maybe different. You know, Twitter and all these social medias are so popular now that I just think kids are people. Us, me, we are inundated and tempted to want to be famous, to want to be popular, to live in the moment. And I think what ICC taught me was, because it's a junior college and clearly it's for a short time, I think it taught me, man, live life in seasons. You know, because you go to ICC, and one, as an athlete, it's either because your grades weren't what they needed to be, or for other reasons you couldn't make it to the 4-year. So even for those who wanted to think, oh, I'm so great, JUCO just humbles you. You know, I mean, JUCO is blue collar, hit you in the mouth, get your lunch and go to work. And I think that's what now I appreciate so much is, I mean, my life, I want to be a husband, I want to be a father, and there's not a lot of glory in those things. It's you wake up, you love your family, you go to work, you love your kids, you go to bed. And I think that's what ICC taught me was much of life is done behind the scenes. 95% of my life is, it sounds boring, but it really is. But the beauty of it is I think I learned to appreciate just the monotony. You know, I mean, as a dad, when I wake up, I can wake up, and I can wake up and be fun and be exciting. And I think ICC taught me, one, just embrace and enjoy kind of the monotony, embrace and enjoy the average. And what I meant by that was you go to class, you go to practice, you go back to your dorm room. And man, I think that just prepared me now to really just enjoy life. As a principal, there's not a when I become, that's when life becomes great. Like, I make it what it is today. And I really think ICC taught me that among many other things. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And so basically what you're saying is you're now Buddy Collins at 5:30 in the morning.
Pretty much. Don't tell him that. Do not tell Buddy Collins that.
Got you on that.
But I would tell you, you know, in so many ways, and I don't say this just because I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you talk to my friends, my family, I often attribute where I am now to those beginning years of doing the late nights, doing the early mornings, and nobody knew about it. And it seems trivial, but I'm not taking an Instagram picture. One in 06, 07, you didn't have it.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking a selfie, and you see that I'm doing dropbacks on a Saturday night under the streetlights. Or, not that those things are bad. Sorry about that.
You're good. I'll have to call somebody else.
But I think, like, I couldn't live into this this fantasy that I think so many kids live into today.
Well, they just highlight the positive.
You know, it just wasn't glamorous. You know, I'm not posting when I'm going up to the school and I'm throwing into a net when nobody's there, or I'm trying to imagine a playbook about what this defender would do. And those are the things to where now I think kids, and I'm tempted by it, is we want the instant world, the instant gratification. And it's there, but it's not good for the long haul.
Right.
And that's one of the things when I think back to ICC, and it was just take your lunch pail to work, get it done, and do it again the next day. And I think now, and I said this earlier, you know, last night, two of my boys, one woke up at 2 a.m., the other one woke up at 3 a.m., and it was just, Dad, will you come cover me up? I'm like, son, can you not cover yourself up? But all joking aside, it's pretty easy because of the grind of football. And people think I'm crazy, but I remember that going to bed at 1:30, setting your alarm for 3:30 so that I could study before the 5:30 workout. Those are the things that I did. And a while back there was a picture going around on social media about, you know, the day of a college athlete, and it made me want to throw up because it was so real. But now, all joking aside, you know, put the kids in bed, and on the way back to bed, I'm like, well, at least it's not 2-a-days.
As they like to say, JUCO made.
JUCO made, and that's the real truth. Built me in so many ways.
You guys got anything?
Yeah, I'm going to let you get a chance to talk a little about something a little bit different.
Go ahead,
less football related. As we're getting ready for things like this, we pull yearbooks and newspapers and stuff and look for things. And of course, you were in there for your athletic achievements and your academic achievements as well. But one that I was impressed, which was really a throwaway picture, kind of hidden amongst all of the individual face profiles. There's a photo of you tutoring someone else. And as I look at your biography after college, you know, you've had a life of service.
Yeah.
And that seems to be something that stands out to me as important to you. Is there anything you want to share about service and others and how that's been part of your life?
Oh, that's good, man. You know, for me, I'm a Christian, and my faith is important to me. And I would tell you, now as a husband, as a dad, as a principal, and really I don't know where the Lord will take me in the future, but I've realized, man, life really is about others, man. It's not about me. And it seems trivial to say that, it seems cliche to say that, but it's better to give than receive. I played junior college. Some of the things, when I think back to JUCO, and some of my sweetest times were McPhee and I. If you see him, he still owes me a cheeseburger from McDonald's. Going to McDonald's. Gabe Holiday. Gabe and I, from Hamilton, Mississippi, we would go to Burger King. Some of my greatest times were those things, like just getting to know their lives and their stories and their families. And I think for me, part of the service element was I knew that we were more than just football players. I knew that we had stories, we had families. There was a life outside of this, and I wanted to get to know the stories and lives of others. And I also knew that people had given to me. People had poured into me. People had given of their time. They had given their resources. I remember the first time I went to the beach in high school was with a friend. His family took me to the beach. That's why I still like mahi-mahi, is because of that. But I think it had been modeled to me what it meant to give back, and it had impacted me. And it was one of those to where when I looked at the impact that it had on me, I would say it was a response of my faith, but I also would say it was a response naturally of, man, they've given this to me. This is where I am. Well, I want to do the same in return, so that other people can get other places. And even now, it's a little busy. I told you guys earlier, I have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old. Much of my service is to the Lee home.
Yes.
But as I think about my life, what do I want for my kids? If they play ball, great. I pray that they learn. I hope that they compete. But I also know that even in my career now, like, I want for them to see, man, service, giving yourself for the good of others is something that I want to model. So yeah, Mike, I don't know if that would fully answer it, but I would say, yeah, a life of service is something that I hope from now until the Lord calls me home again, or at least from now until the Lord calls me home, not again, calls me home, that I'll do that.
Why settle for a checking account that just holds your money? Renaissance Rewards Extra gives you so much more. Like savings at more than 400,000 retailers, 24/7 roadside assistance, a cell phone protection plan worth up to $400, $25 in ATM fee refunds per monthly cycle, and a great interest rate when you meet 3 easy qualifications. Get extra today at rewardsextra.com. Renaissance Bank, understanding you. Member FDIC.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow is what we anticipate, what we work for, what we want to improve. At Itawamba Community College, we offer the courses, pathways, and the training that can help turn your vision of tomorrow into a reality. So why wait? Your tomorrow can start today at Itawamba Community College. The best start here.
Everyone has a unique story to tell. Maybe your story has you performing your new song in front of a crowd, getting to play your favorite sport, or enjoying a horseback ride in the country. At Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi, our group of skilled surgeons understand your need to continue your story. That is why we are the preferred choice for orthopedic care. Thank you for choosing us. Our story is you. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi.
So Coach Fox, let's see. Coach Fox, he started in 2006 with me. Lee Hall, I was on the 3rd floor, but I remember walking into Lee Hall, and at this time I didn't even know, because I think Coach Terrell had brought him on as maybe like an assistant, so he wasn't in a full-time coaching capacity, I don't believe. But I never will forget, he got a Southern Miss shirt on, white shirt, black letters, yellow outline, and I'm walking in, and he's at the front, and either he was giving us our keys or something. And he said, well, I hear it's your job to lose. And that's all he said. And man, 14 years later, I'd tell you, Coach Fox, if you were to ask him, he wouldn't. He'd tell you he loves me. He wouldn't tell you that, but I know he does.
Deep down he does.
And part of it, and honest to goodness, I think over the years, I became interested in Coach Fox the person, Tyrone the person. And I really believe he tries to act all hard. But we've worked some camps together, and we've kind of just talked life, education and giving back. He went coaching in high school, coaching in junior college. What are you seeing with kids that graduated with me, and what are you seeing with kids now? And I think just that real life, hey, let's just talk side of things. I still call him Coach Fox. I can't call him Tyrone. But Coach Fox is a good guy.
He is. He left for a year and then came back.
Yeah, because he went to Pearl or Petal?
He went to Petal, and then the coaching changed there. He ended up at Shannon.
That's right. I heard about that one. Yeah. So we've, I had some great coaches. Going back, just things that I could talk about. I could talk about a lot. One of the things now, as a principal, but as a dad, I realize the importance of forming kids, and I often use the analogy of Play-Doh. When kids are young, it's like Play-Doh. You can mold it, you can push it, you can fashion how you want to. But as they get older, it becomes hard like a rock. And one of my favorite quotes is by a man named Frederick Douglass, and he says, "It's easier to build strong children than repair broken men." And I think it's fitting in this season of life for me in this role. I never really aspired to be an elementary school principal. Here I am. I got an undergrad in secondary education with a concentration in biology. Then I got a master's in sport administration. I never desired to be in elementary education. But now as I'm here, I think a lot about impacting, forming, and so many coaches did that for me. They were, Coach Terrell. Coach Terrell was another Buddy Collins. Coach Terrell would come on country. Man, you're in Fulton, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 100 degrees, and gentlemen, let's get going now. And man, you wanted so bad for them to take it easy on you. Or Coach Collins, I remember we would do in the old basketball gym. I don't even know what it's used for now.
It's actually no longer.
It's not there. Yeah. Well, when it would rain or early morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Coach Collins would have us in there just running and guys throwing up. And I think coaches who poured into me but really raised the expectations. They were kind, they were gentle, some more than others. But I think just realizing the impact that coaches as well as administrators and teachers can have on students. And I think I remember when I was there, I was super busy, but there were people in Will Kohlmeyer and a lot of people in the business office, or is it like right when what do you call the main building?
Student Services.
Student Services building. And another great thing, Miss Stevenson, is she still? She was my speech teacher.
Yeah, she's still there.
She was my speech teacher. But a lot of those teachers saw their jobs as, man, I want to really give back to these kids. And so, I'm kind of just rambling now.
No, you're good.
Giving you some feed that you can use.
But no, that's we call ourselves the ICC family.
Yeah.
And that's truly what it is that family vibe. Because, I came in 2010, but you and I knew each other before then, a little bit after then as well. And so it's unique because not every place has that family vibe. Talk about the family vibe that ICC has.
Yeah, for me, so much of it was around sports. But I think my teachers at the time, they realized I was more than that. I cared about my studies. My wife, who spent zero time in the library, and I spent probably so one of the things I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I did this. But the library was like my second home. I would go to the library night. It closed at 9, I think. I don't know what the hours are now. And as soon as it closed, I'd go straight back to my dorm room. But after practice, I would go eat. After I ate, I would go straight to the library. And I spent many hours in that library. And just faculty who knew me by name, faculty who, a lot of times they wouldn't even talk about sports. And I appreciated that. It was, they would come to games. They would know how we had done. But I think the side of, hey, you're more than an athlete, and I want to know you as Tyson, went a long way.
They cared because they genuinely cared.
Yep, they cared about you as the person, and I felt it then. And even you guys being here today, and since then, I've seen some of my teachers in passing, and the same level of care, concern, compassion they had then, they still have it.